Sex is not just a physical act. From a biological point of view, it's one of the most complex events your body can go through. It pulls in almost every system you have: your brain, your hormones, your heart, your nervous system, even your skin. In the next few minutes, we're going to map out the anatomy of pleasure step by step. We'll look at what's actually happening inside you, second by second, when intimacy unfolds. Think of this as a journey into the body's own private laboratory. No mysticism, no guesswork, just biology. Welcome in. It all starts in the brain, long before anything happens anywhere else. The moment you feel attraction or desire, a small but powerful region called the hypothalamus sends out a signal. This triggers the release of dopamine, the brain's main reward chemical. Dopamine is the reason you feel that rush of anticipation, that pull toward another person. Interestingly, research on the brain's reward system shows something surprising. Dopamine actually fires most strongly during anticipation, not during the reward itself. In other words, the wanting can feel just as powerful as the having. But dopamine doesn't work alone. As things progress, the brain also raises levels of norepinephrine, a chemical cousin of adrenaline. This is what makes your senses feel sharper, your heartbeat faster, and your skin more alert to touch. Then comes oxytocin, often nicknamed the bonding hormone or cuddle hormone. Oxytocin is closely tied to feelings of closeness, trust, and emotional connection. It rises steadily through touch and intimacy, and it peaks dramatically at the moment of orgasm. Some researchers describe oxytocin as the chemical signature of bonding. It's part of why physical intimacy so often deepens emotional connection between partners, not just physical pleasure. So in this opening phase, your body is essentially rewriting its own internal chemistry in real time. Desire chemicals, alertness chemicals, and bonding chemicals, all building on top of each other. While all this chemistry is happening upstairs, your body downstairs is shifting into what we might call sprint mode. Your heart rate climbs, your blood pressure rises, blood flow gets redirected away from less urgent areas and toward the pelvic region, causing tissue swelling and increased sensitivity. This is your sympathetic nervous system at work, the same system responsible for your fight or flight response, just being used here for something far more pleasant. Breathing deepens and quickens, supplying extra oxygen to muscles that are becoming more active and more tense. Your skin may flush and become noticeably more sensitive to touch, partly because of increased blood flow just beneath its surface. Norepinephrine, the chemical we mentioned earlier, plays a big role here. It's what keeps your body alert, responsive, and primed for what's coming next. None of this is random. Every one of these changes is coordinated by ancient neural circuits that evolved for one purpose: to make sure this experience and its biological consequences would be rewarding, memorable, and worth repeating. Modern sexual medicine generally describes 4 key stages: desire, arousal, plateau, and orgasm, followed by a resolution period. We've already covered desire and arousal, so let's talk about what happens as things build toward their peak. During the plateau phase, physical tension keeps climbing, muscles throughout the body tighten, reflexes sharpen, heart rate and blood pressure continue rising, sometimes quite steeply. Studies measuring heart rate during this stage have recorded peaks well above resting levels, often surging into a range you might normally only see during intense exercise. The body is, quite literally, building toward a release. Then comes orgasm, a short but intense burst of neuromuscular activity. Researchers have documented rhythmic muscle contractions in the pelvic floor during this phase, occurring in a distinct pattern in both men and women. At the same time, the brain undergoes a remarkable shift. Areas responsible for fear, anxiety, and self-monitoring actually quiet down. It's almost as if the brain temporarily switches off its own internal critic, allowing total absorption in the present moment. Some neuroscientists describe this as activation of the brain's natural opioid system, the same internal reward pathway involved in deep feelings of relief and pleasure. This opioid activity works together with dopamine and oxytocin, reinforcing the entire experience at a deep neurological level. It's worth noting that this is not a single uniform event, but a cascade. one chemical and physical change triggering the next in a fairly predictable sequence. When that sequence runs smoothly from start to finish, the experience tends to feel complete and deeply satisfying, both physically and emotionally. Once the most intense phase passes, the body enters what's called the resolution phase, and this is where things get especially interesting from a hormonal standpoint. Prolactin, a hormone you may have heard of in connection with lactation, surges sharply right after orgasm in both men and women. Scientists believe this prolactin spike is closely tied to a temporary dip in dopamine activity. It's part of the reason for that familiar wave of deep satisfaction, calm, and sometimes drowsiness that follows. In fact, some researchers see the rise in prolactin as a kind of natural off switch, helping the body wind down from peak arousal back toward a resting state. There's an interesting asymmetry here worth mentioning. Research suggests that women often experience a more sustained elevation in oxytocin afterward, supporting prolonged feelings of closeness and bonding, while men tend to experience a faster, sharper prolactin surge, which is more closely linked to the immediate drowsy wind-down feeling. This isn't a flaw or a mismatch to worry about. It's simply a difference built into the underlying biology, shaped by different reproductive roles across evolutionary history. Heart rate and blood pressure gradually return to their normal resting levels. Muscles that were tense finally relax. The whole system, having spent its built-up energy, settles back into balance. This is the body's built-in recovery mechanism, a kind of physiological reset button that allows the nervous system to return to a calm baseline. Here's something that often gets overlooked. This entire cascade isn't just about pleasure in the moment. It also has real, measurable effects on the rest of your life. The combination of dopamine, oxytocin, and the body's natural opioid system has been linked to reduced stress hormones, improved mood, and even support for immune function. Meanwhile, the lasting effects of oxytocin help strengthen emotional bonds between partners over time, and there's evidence that repeated intimacy with the same partner can gradually reshape the brain's own chemistry, increasing sensitivity to bonding signals and reducing the brain's natural threat response toward that person. In simple terms, closeness, repeated over time, can actually help rewire your brain toward greater trust and less anxiety around a partner. It's also worth remembering that stress works against all of this. Chronic stress can blunt the very systems we've just described, dampening the anticipatory dopamine response and reducing sensitivity to oxytocin. So when people say that stress kills romance, there is real biology behind that complaint. It's not just a feeling, it's measurable at the level of brain chemistry. So what have we learned? Sex is far more than a simple physical act. It's a finely coordinated symphony of brain chemistry, cardiovascular changes, muscular activity, and hormonal shifts, all working together. It's one of the body's most powerful natural tools for relieving stress, supporting emotional bonds, and even boosting physical health. Understanding how these systems work doesn't take away the mystery or the magic. If anything, it adds a new layer of appreciation for just how remarkable the human body really is. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the biology of intimacy, give this video a like and subscribe for more science-based explorations of the human experience. What other parts of human behavior would you like us to explore through a scientific lens? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, stay curious.